Today we're going to talk about two-step equations, and our essential question is, how do you solve a two-step equation? So before we get into how to solve, I want to know a few vocabulary words. And so the first thing that I want to do is I want to take a look at this equation right here. We have 12x plus 6 is equal to 78. And so where a number is, it has its own name. So let's look at this 6 right here. This 6 is all alone. It has a plus 6. It doesn't have an x by it or anything. So when it's just a number, just like that, that means that that is a constant. Okay. Another example of a constant is going to be this 78. Right? Those are just numbers. They're constants. They're just numbers on an equation. But if you look at 12, you see that 12, just 12, is right next to the x. And so this would not be a constant because it has this x next to it. Okay, so whenever it has something that is all together, like 12x, that 12 is no longer a constant. It's going to be a coefficient. So it's in front of a x, or it's in front of an x. So any number in front of an x is called a coefficient. Okay. And so here are the steps to solve a multi-step equation. First, you're going to draw a line through the equal sign just like we did yesterday. And then second, we're going to add or subtract the constant by inverse operations. So we're going to look at, for example, the 6, and we're going to, in this case, subtract that to the other side. Okay, that will be step number 2. Step number 3 will be multiply or divide the coefficient by inverse operation. So in this case, we would look at 12, and we would divide by 12 on both sides. Okay, so let's look at a few examples. The first example here, we have 12n plus 6 is equal to 78. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put a line like that. And so I need to get rid of the constant that's next to the variable. In this case, my variable is n. So I need to get the constant 6 and move it to the other side. So I need to subtract 6 because that's the inverse of plus 6. So I need to do it on both sides. Okay. And so when I do that, I have a 12n at the bottom. Okay. The 6 minus 6 cancels out to a 0. And then I can do 78 minus 6 is going to give me a 72. Okay. Now, this is not going to be my answer because it doesn't say n equals, right? It has 12n equals 72. So now I'm going to do another line. And that's why it's called two-step, because we're doing 2 steps. We're doing this step and then this step, right? And now I'm going to divide my coefficient, which is 12. Okay. So when I do that, the 12s cancel out. So I just have an n equals. And then we can do 72 divided by 12. That's going to give us a 6. If we want to check our answer in the calculator, we can do 12 times 6, which was our answer, right? Plus 6, and it should equal 78. Okay, and it does. Okay. Now let's look at number 2. So first, we're going to draw our line, and we're going to look at the constant positive 5. So in order to get that to the other side, I'm going to do the inverse operation, which is minus 5 on both sides. And so we bring down the x over 5. This cancels out to a 0. We have an equals, and then 20 minus 5 is going to give us a 15. Okay. So remember, this is 2 steps, so I need to do the other step again, one more time. And in this case, we have a division, so we're going to multiply by 5 to get that x by itself. Okay, So here the 5's cancel out. You're left with an x equals 15 times 5 is going to give us a 75. That is our answer. Okay. For the next two, they're not going to be equations. There's going to be like descriptions or words, right? So in this first example, we have these boxes and these circles. So these boxes, they have an X in them. So I'm going to rewrite these, and I know there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 X's, so I'm going to put it as 6X. And I'm adding how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ones, right? And that is going to equal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13. And so now I can go ahead and do my two-step process. So I'm going to split it in half, right? My inverse operation for the plus 5 is going to be minus 5. And I get 6x. That cancels out to 0. And then we do 13 minus 5 is going to give us an 8. To my second step. In this case, 6x is being multiplied. So to undo multiplication, we're going to divide by 6. So now we have x equals 8 divided by 6. We can simplify that to a 1.333 repeating, or we can put it as, let's see, 4/4. Okay, I'll accept both of those answers. Okay. Now the last one, we have 4 times a number plus, that should be plus. I'll take away the E, not pulse, plus. Plus 6 is 46. So it's saying 4 times a number. So we're multiplying 4 times any number in the world. We can call that number X, right? Or if you want it, we can call it R or whatever letter you want. Let's just leave it as R. Plus, we have that plus 6 is 46. So all of this is equal to 46. Okay. Now I have my equation, and I can go ahead and use my inverse operations on the constant first, which is 6. So the inverse of plus 6 would be minus 6. So we would have 4R cancels out to 0, and then 46 minus 6 is 40. And then let's do our second step. In this case, we have a 4R. We can divide by 4. That's our second step, and our answer is going to be 40. Okay. So in this case, it can be R equals 40. It can be X equals 40. They just said a number, right? A number, it can be any letter can represent a number. In this case, we chose R, and R is equal to 40.